Happy Thanksgiving, everybody, and welcome to this evening's winter weather update. So, Winter Storm Cait is bringing moderate to heavy snow across much of Wyoming through Idaho and Utah this evening. And looking at the 18Z run of the HRRR model, as we go through the evening and overnight, snowfall coverage is going to expand into southwestern South Dakota, northwestern Nebraska, and into northern central Colorado by the time we are going into around midnight Mountain Time, 1 a.m. Central Time tonight. Um, light to moderate snow is going to continue to spread to the south as we go through the overnight. And as we go into about 7 a.m. Central Time, 6 a.m. Mountain Time tomorrow morning, uh, light to moderate snow is going to be falling across most of Wyoming, Colorado, western half of Nebraska, and northwestern Kansas, with heavier snow in the higher elevations of the Rocky Mountains. And then as we go through the day Friday, snow is going to spread south across the Rockies into the Four Corners, and we could be seeing heavy snow bands moving across western Colorado, eastern Utah, moving into northern New Mexico around 8 p.m. Central Time, 7 p.m. Mountain Time tomorrow. And then as we go into the overnight tomorrow night, uh, a low pressure is going to start to develop over the Colorado Rockies and bring very heavy snow to central northern New Mexico, western southern Colorado. Near the Santa Fe Taos area, could be seeing very heavy snow as we go into about 12 o'clock a.m. Um, 12 o'clock a.m. on Saturday. And then as we go into Saturday morning around 7 a.m. Central Time, 6 a.m. Mountain Time, snow is going to spread across western Kansas, perhaps into the Texas and Oklahoma Panhandles, and portions of Iowa and eastern New Mexico, as we see snow increase in coverage through the day Saturday across Kansas and Nebraska, northwestern Oklahoma, Texas Panhandle, could be mixing with a little freezing rain and sleet across the Texas Panhandle and northwestern Oklahoma as well. So looking at the snowfall accumulations in the HRRR model for the next 2 days, widespread dusting to 2 inches of snow can be expected across portions of Iowa, South Dakota, eastern Nebraska, even far southern Minnesota, central northern Kansas, the Texas Panhandle and Oklahoma Panhandle in the gray, looking at the blue areas across central western Kansas, central western Nebraska, northeastern Colorado, portions of New Mexico and Wyoming are going to be seeing a widespread 2 to 6 inches of snowfall accumulation, moving into the purples and pinks, 6 to 12 inches across much of Wyoming, the western Rockies of Colorado, northern New Mexico, perhaps far western Nebraska and western Kansas, and going into the bright pinks through the oranges and even whites. Could be seeing 1 to 3 feet of snow in the higher elevations of New Mexico, Colorado, and Wyoming over the next 2 days. Make sure you're preparing for this snowfall, especially if you live across Wyoming, Colorado, and northern New Mexico. Looking at the latest National Weather Service's watches, warnings, and advisories map, we have winter storm warnings in effect across most of Wyoming, southern Montana, southwestern Idaho, western Nebraska, into portions of southwest Colorado and northern New Mexico in the pinks. Winter weather advisories across much of Colorado, especially the eastern part of the state, northwest Kansas, central Nebraska, far southwest South Dakota, southern Montana, southern Idaho, far northeastern Nevada, and central Utah, and even portions of Arizona in the purples. And we have winter storm watches across much of central and southwestern through northern Kansas in the blue areas. Now, looking at the NAM-NEST model for timing out the snowfall, very similar to the HRRR, snow is going to spread south through the overnight into tomorrow morning. And then as we go into tomorrow afternoon, snow is going to end across much of South Dakota through Wyoming, but really increase in intensity across Utah into Colorado and western Nebraska going into Saturday morning. This is where we're going to be seeing heavy snow moving across New Mexico, southern Colorado, into southwestern Kansas. And as we go through the day Saturday, Snow is going to spread across Kansas and Nebraska, eastern Colorado, and potentially freezing rain across the Texas Panhandle and northwest Oklahoma. And this will continue as we go into Saturday afternoon and even Saturday night. The snow is going to start to spread across Missouri into Iowa, into Wisconsin, southeastern Minnesota, northern Oklahoma, and southeastern Kansas. Looking at the snowfall accumulations in the NAM-NEST model, very similar to the HRRR, although the NAM-NEST model goes 60 hours out, so across much of Kansas into southeastern Nebraska, northwestern Missouri, can be expecting a good 2 to 6 inches of snow from Winter Storm Cait, with similar totals to the HRRR model in the mountains of New Mexico, Colorado, Utah, and Wyoming of 1 to 3 feet, and about 2 to 6 inches in the valleys. And looking at potential ice accumulations, could be seeing a good glaze to quarter-inch of ice in the Texas Panhandle through northwestern Oklahoma, south central Kansas. So make sure you're preparing for potential ice, especially as we go into Friday night and Saturday if you live across these areas. So thanks for watching today's winter weather update. Make sure you're preparing for heavy snowfall to continue, especially across the central, southeastern Rockies into the western and central plains over the next 2 days. Happy Thanksgiving, thanks for watching, and have a wonderful Thanksgiving, my friends.